Welcome, beloved soul, to the Wisdom Tribe. If these words have found you, it is not by accident, not by chance, not by random scrolling. No, this is a divine setup. The Spirit of God Himself has orchestrated this moment, aligning your path with this message, because there is something in these words that belongs to you. Hear me clearly. You are not here by coincidence. You are here because heaven has already stamped you as chosen, set apart, and destined for greatness. Long before you ever questioned yourself, long before others misunderstood you, long before you even knew your own strength, heaven already declared your authority. And today this truth must sink deep into your spirit. You don't move for approval, you move with authority. Chosen one, all your life you have wrestled with the weight of being different. You tried to explain yourself to people who could never understand. You tried to shrink your light so others would feel comfortable. You tried to chase validation, not realizing that what you carried was never meant to be validated by man. It was stamped by God. That's why you've been rejected by some and misunderstood by many. Because authority doesn't ask for permission. Authority doesn't beg to be accepted. Authority doesn't wait for applause. Authority walks in, shifts the room, and leaves a mark that cannot be erased. If you are hearing this right now, it's because heaven has decided it's time for you to stop bowing to opinions, stop living for approval, and start walking in the boldness of who you truly are. This is not just another message. This is a call, a confirmation, a divine announcement over your life. You don't move for approval. You move with authority. Before we go any further, if your spirit is resonating with this word, type authority in the comments right now. That declaration is not just a word, it is a prophetic act. It represents your decision to no longer chase approval, to no longer live for validation, but to rise boldly in the authority God has already placed on your life. When you type it, you're declaring in faith that you walk with heaven's stamp, not man's permission. You are aligned, chosen, and already carrying the crown of divine authority. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Wisdom Tribe, and make sure you watch this video all the way through, and even re-watch it multiple times. Each time you listen, another layer of this revelation will unlock within you. This is your moment to stop seeking approval and start walking in authority. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Trap of Approval. Chosen one, let's be painfully real. You know what it feels like to live in the prison of people-pleasing. You know what it feels like to bend until you nearly break just to keep the peace. You've silenced your truth to avoid offending others, even when your spirit was restless and burning inside of you. You've laughed at jokes that weren't funny, nodded in agreement when you wanted to speak the opposite, and stayed quiet when you should have spoken boldly. All because you didn't want to lose acceptance. Think about it. How many times have you put your dreams on pause to make someone else comfortable? How many times did you water down your gift because you didn't want to be called too much or too different? You've been in rooms where you didn't belong, but you forced yourself to fit, hoping they'd finally see your worth. But here's the heartbreaking truth. You learned the hard way that no matter what you did, it was never enough. Approval is a slippery trap. One moment they clap for you, the next moment they whisper behind your back. One season they celebrate you, the next they act like they don't even know your name. The problem with chasing approval is that it's unstable. It shifts like sand, it changes with gossip, moods, and opinions. When you build your confidence on it, you will always find yourself restless, drained, and empty because approval is not rooted in truth. It's rooted in preference. But authority, heaven's authority, is unshakable. It doesn't depend on trends, clicks, or human applause. It flows directly from the throne of God, and once it's stamped on your life, no one can revoke it. That's why the Spirit of God is whispering to you even now. Stop chasing their applause, my child. Stop begging for their validation. You were never designed to move for approval. You were born to move with authority. Look at David. Even his own father didn't consider him worthy of standing before Samuel when the prophet came to anoint the next king. His family overlooked him, dismissed him, pushed him aside to the fields as just a shepherd boy. But heaven had already stamped him. David wasn't man's choice, but he was God's choice. And when God marks you, it doesn't matter who overlooks you, the oil will not flow until you arrive. Chosen one, that's you. Some of you were left out, rejected, doubted, and mocked. You tried to prove yourself, but they still didn't see it. And now God is saying, stop explaining, stop begging, stop performing. You don't need to earn what's already been given. You don't need to convince people of what heaven has already declared. The moment you stop running after man's approval is the moment you finally walk into your divine authority. And that's when everything shifts. You stop begging for crumbs at tables you were never meant to sit at. You stop waiting for invitations that will never come. Instead, you step boldly into your assignment and you realize you are the table. You are the one God positioned to feed nations, to heal hearts, to awaken souls. Chosen one, hear me. Their approval is optional, but your assignment is eternal. Stop letting their opinions dictate your worth. When you walk in your authority, you don't move timidly. You move with the confidence of someone who knows heaven is backing every step. You move knowing that if God is for you, no one can be against you. This is your moment of awakening. This is the breaking of the trap. You no longer have to bend, break, or shrink to be accepted. You were accepted before the foundations of the earth. You were chosen before you even took your first breath. Now is the time to stop moving for approval and to rise boldly, chosen one, in the authority God has already placed on your life. Chapter 2. Heaven's Stamp of Authority. Chosen one, let this sink deep into your spirit. Authority is not something man can give you, and it's not something man can take away. Authority is not earned by titles, diplomas, followers, or applause. Authority is not voted in or voted out. True authority is not temporary. It is eternal. And it comes directly from the mouth of God. Before your parents even knew your name, before the world tried to label you, before life tried to break you, heaven had already stamped you with divine approval. God had already written your assignment and sealed it with His authority. That's why, even when life pushed you down, something in you refused to stay there. That's why storms raged, but you came out stronger. That's why you kept walking through fire that burned others, because heaven's stamp was already on you. Do you understand what that means? It means the system can't stop you. It means rejection can't erase you. It means betrayal can't undo you. Because authority that comes from heaven is untouchable. Man can deny you, but heaven has already approved you. They can overlook you, but heaven has already stamped you. Look at the stories written in the Word. Joseph was stamped with authority when he was just a boy having dreams. His brothers hated him, plotted against him, and threw him into a pit. He was sold into slavery, lied about, and locked up. Yet even in the lowest places, the stamp of heaven was on him. That's why favor followed him wherever he went. In Potiphar's house, in the prison cell, in Pharaoh's court, the stamp of authority remained. And when the time came, nothing and no one could stop him from stepping into his destiny. David was stamped with authority when the prophet Samuel poured oil on his head. But notice this, he wasn't crowned king immediately. He went back to tending sheep. He went back to being overlooked. He went back to the shadows while Saul sat on the throne. But because the oil of heaven had stamped him, even giants had to fall before him. Even kings had to make room for him. The stamp made him unstoppable, even when the world said otherwise. That's you, chosen one. That's why life couldn't break you. That's why rejection didn't destroy you. That's why betrayal didn't bury you. Because you are carrying something no man can touch, the seal of divine authority. And here's the part many don't understand. People can feel this authority on you even if they don't have the words for it. That's why some are drawn to you and can't explain why. That's why others avoid you without reason. Some respect you deeply, even without knowing your story. Others envy you, despise you, or try to tear you down. But here's the truth. It's not you they're reacting to. It's the authority you carry. It's the crown they sense in the spirit. It's the weight of heaven resting on your shoulders. You've noticed it, haven't you? You walk into a room and conversations shift. People turn, some stare, some whisper. Some feel comforted by your presence, while others feel agitated without reason. It's because you're not walking in the natural. You're walking in spiritual authority. And authority commands a reaction. Chosen one. Don't shrink when people misunderstand you. Don't silence yourself when your presence stirs up resistance. Don't second-guess yourself when others can't celebrate you. Authority is not about pleasing people. It's about carrying heaven's assignment. When heaven stamps you, you become undeniable. So hold your head high. Walk in boldness. Speak with conviction. Move with faith. Not because you're trying to prove something, but because you already carry something. The world doesn't have to see it for it to be real. The world doesn't have to agree with it for it to manifest. Heaven has stamped you. And what heaven stamps, no hand, no lie, no system, no enemy can ever erase. This is your reminder. You don't move for approval, you move with authority. And when you embrace that truth fully, you'll walk into rooms differently. You'll carry yourself differently. You'll stop asking permission to be who God already called you to be. Because chosen ones don't need man's stamp. They walk with heaven's seal. Chapter 3. Why approval is dangerous. Chosen one, let's go deeper into this truth. Seeking approval is one of the deadliest traps ever designed for you. It's dangerous because it doesn't look like a trap at first. It looks like love, like belonging, like acceptance. It feels harmless because all of us, deep down, want to be seen, valued, and loved. But the enemy knows this too, and he twists that desire into a chain. Approval is subtle. It doesn't shackle you with iron. It shackles you with smiles, nods, and shallow applause. It whispers. Do this and they'll like you. Say that and they'll accept you. Hide that part of yourself and they'll let you stay. And slowly, piece by piece, you begin to trade authenticity for applause, destiny for validation, authority for acceptance. Think about it. How many times did you unbend yourself just to fit in? How many times did you break yourself just to keep the peace? How many times did you silence the fire in your soul just to avoid making others uncomfortable? You laughed when you wanted to cry. You stayed quiet when truth was burning in your bones. You shrank your light so someone else's insecurity wouldn't be exposed. But here's the truth. No matter how much you gave, no matter how much you tried, no matter how much you bent, it was never enough. Approval is a moving target. It shifts with moods, opinions, and circumstances. One day they like you, the next day they don't. One moment they cheer you, the next they criticize you. And if you tie your worth to that roller coaster, you'll spend your life exhausted, empty, and lost. Approval makes you compromise. It convinces you to say yes when God told you to say no. It pushes you to stay in rooms you've outgrown, relationships that drain you, and jobs that crush your spirit, all because you don't want to disappoint people. You start living a life God never designed for you, carrying burdens you were never meant to carry, all because you wanted to be enough for people who couldn't even see your value. Approval makes you mute your roar. You were born to be a lion, but approval will have you meowing like a house cat just so others don't feel intimidated. It will have you lowering your voice when you were created to speak with authority. It will have you hiding your wisdom, your anointing, your gifts, because you don't want to be labeled too much. But let me tell you, chosen one, you were never meant to be just enough. You were meant to overflow. Approval makes you accept being tolerated when you were destined to become celebrated. It makes you comfortable sitting at tables where you're only kept around because of what you provide, not who you are. It makes you clap for people who wouldn't clap for you just so you won't feel left out. It makes you carry the weight of friendships, families, and communities that were never meant to hold you. And by the end of it, you look around and realize you've been giving your pearls to swine, hoping one day they'll notice the value you've been holding all along. And here's the most dangerous part. Approval makes you forget who you are. Slowly, it erases your identity. You stop living from your crown and start living from their comments. You stop walking in destiny and start walking in desperation. Desperation for a like. Desperation for a good job. Desperation for a pat on the back. And here's the truth. When you're desperate for approval, you'll accept crumbs at a table when heaven already prepared you to own the feast. But hear this clearly, chosen one. Every time you silence your gift to make others comfortable, you dishonor the crown heaven placed on your head. Every time you lower your standard to be accepted, you step out of alignment with the kingdom standard God already gave you. Every time you choose applause over assignment, you forfeit the authority that was written into your DNA before you were even born. Approval is a chain, a quiet, deadly chain that disguises itself as belonging. But it is bondage, and if you stay in it, you'll find yourself enslaved to the opinions of people who don't even know who they are. But authority, heaven's authority, is freedom. When you walk in authority, you stop asking, "Do they like me?" And you start declaring, "I know God sent me." Chapter 4. Authority flows from identity. Chosen one, authority is not something you put on like a coat. It's something that flows out of you like breath. You don't chase it. You don't beg for it. You don't pretend to have it. It's woven into your very being. Let's pause here. How many people do you know who cling to positions, titles, and status symbols just to feel powerful? They think the promotion, the diploma, the corner office, or the blue check mark is what makes them somebody. But notice this, strip away those external things and many are left empty. Why? Because what the world gives, the world can also take away. But the authority that flows from your identity, that cannot be touched. It cannot be revoked, it cannot expire. No boss can fire it, no critic can cancel it, no thief can steal it. Why? Because it wasn't given by man, it was given by God. And what heaven gives, earth cannot undo. This is why people react to you the way they do without even knowing why. Some are drawn to you, others resist you. Some celebrate you, others attack you. Some can't stop staring while others avoid you. It's not your appearance, your resume, or even your words. It's the authority stamped on your spirit. You carry something that exposes what's false, and not everyone can handle that. You see, authority is spiritual gravity. When you walk into a room, everything around you is forced to respond. Darkness feels it and trembles. The broken feel it and find hope. The insecure feel it and get offended. The hungry feel it and draw near. But one thing is certain. Nobody can ignore it. That's because your identity was never ordinary. From the very beginning, you were set apart. Even before you knew God, He had already placed His hand on you. That's why no matter how far you wandered, something kept pulling you back. That's why no matter how much you tried to just be normal, you couldn't. Your spirit was already carrying a seal, a mark, a light that could not be hidden. Chosen one, this is why your prayers shake atmospheres. This is why your silence carries more weight than another person shouting. This is why doors open for you without you knocking. It's not luck, it's authority. And authority flows from identity. When you know your identity, you don't fear rejection. You realize rejection is actually redirection to something greater. You don't beg people to choose you because you know you've already been chosen by heaven. You don't lower your standards to be loved because you understand your value is eternal. Think about this. Jesus Himself walked in perfect authority, yet He was rejected, mocked, and crucified. Why? Because people couldn't handle the weight of His identity, and He told you if they couldn't handle Him, they won't always handle you. But just like Him, rejection cannot strip your identity. Opposition cannot block your authority. This is why the enemy has been after your mind since the beginning. He knew if you stayed confused about who you are, you'd never step into your true power. That's why he used voices of doubt, betrayal, abandonment, comparison, and lies to try to silence you. But here's the revelation. The very fact that you're listening to this right now means he failed. Because now you are remembering, now you are awakening. Now you are stepping into the truth of who you are. And when you embrace that identity, your authority becomes unstoppable. Chosen one, hear this in your spirit. You were never sent to ask for permission. You were sent to walk in authority. Stop asking, am I good enough? Stop waiting for someone to validate you. Stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You are not an echo, you are a voice. You are not a shadow, you are the light. You are not trying to become chosen, you already are. And the moment you fully own that identity, nothing and no one can limit you. Because authority flows from identity, and your identity is sealed in Christ, unchanging, unshakable, eternal. Chapter 5. Walking boldly in authority. Now, chosen one, hear me clearly. This is not the time to dim your light. This is not the season to play small. You've already done that. You've already tried shrinking, hiding, and blending in. And what did it cost you? Your peace, your joy, your identity. Heaven is calling you out of the shadows and commanding you to rise. But let's be clear, boldness is not arrogance. Boldness is obedience. Boldness is walking in confidence, not because of who you are, but because of who sent you. It's moving forward not because you have all the answers, but because you know the one who holds all the answers. When you walk boldly, you stop apologizing for the very thing God put inside of you. You stop asking for permission to exist. You stop waiting for approval slips from people who were never qualified to define you. Boldness makes you understand that you are not taking up space. You aren't on the space. You are the environment shift. You are the breaker of cycles. Boldness means walking into rooms with the awareness that your presence is not accidental. You were sent. Every space you enter becomes a divine assignment. You are not there by chance. You are heaven's representative on earth. Your footsteps are prophetic, your words are weighted, and your spirit carries an authority that demands attention, even when you say nothing at all. Look at Esther. She didn't ask for her position. She didn't come from the right background. She wasn't the most qualified, but when the destiny of her people was on the line, she walked boldly into the throne room. She risked her life because she knew her life wasn't her own. Boldness made history through her. Look at Moses. He didn't want the assignment. He doubted himself. He even argued with God about his weaknesses, yet boldness carried him before Pharaoh with nothing but a staff in his hand and heaven's authority on his lips. His bold obedience broke the back of Egypt and led a nation to freedom. Look at David. He wasn't the tallest, the strongest, or the most experienced warrior. He was overlooked by his own family, but boldness made him run toward Goliath while seasoned soldiers ran away. His courage didn't come from the crowd, it came from covenant. And his boldness shifted Israel's story forever. That same boldness, chosen one, is being stirred in you. But understand this, boldness is not just for the spotlight moments. Boldness is in the everyday choices. Boldness is telling the truth when lying would be easier. Boldness is setting boundaries when people expect you to be their doormat. Boldness is walking away from circles that no longer serve your destiny. Boldness is saying yes to your calling when fear screams no. And here's the secret. Boldness doesn't come from personality. It comes from identity. You don't need to be loud, charismatic, or outgoing to be bold. Some of the boldest people carry silent strength, because true boldness doesn't shout. It stands. It doesn't perform. It persists. It doesn't pretend. It prevails. Boldness is not about being perfect. It's about being present. It's not about ego. It's about assignment. It's not about being fearless. It's about moving forward, despite the fear. Every time you choose boldness, heaven backs you. Every step of obedience pulls on supernatural favor. Every word spoken in authority carries weight in both the seen and unseen realms. Boldness doesn't just move you forward, it breaks chains for those connected to you. And let's be honest, this world does not respect timidity. They may exploit it, but they don't follow it. People follow certainty. They follow those who know where they're going, even if the path looks unfamiliar. Why? Because boldness is magnetic. Boldness carries the fragrance of heaven. It announces, I am sent. I am chosen. I am backed by authority greater than myself. So, chosen one, this is your wake-up call. No more hiding your brilliance to make others comfortable. No more apologizing for carrying heaven's fire. No more shrinking in spaces you were called to stretch. The boldness rising in you is not just for you, it is generational. Your courage is going to unlock someone else's courage. Your obedience is going to confirm someone else's faith. Your yes will echo into eternity. This is your moment, not next year, not someday. Now, step boldly, speak boldly, live boldly. Because when you do, doors will open that no man can shut. When you do, the earth will recognize the sound of heaven in your voice. Chapter 6. The opposition you'll face. Chosen one. When you walk in authority, you must understand this truth. Opposition will come. It is not a question of if, it is a matter of when. The authority placed on your life is not something everyone will accept, and because of that, you will find that not every person is able to handle your presence. Some will misunderstand your confidence and call it pride. Others will envy the light you carry and try to dim it. Some will attempt to minimize your gift because it reminds them of what they have neglected in themselves. Authority makes people uncomfortable. It unsettles the insecure and shakes the comfortable. When you step into your true assignment, your very presence will begin to stir spirits around you. Some people will gravitate toward you not because they honor you, but because they want to benefit from your light without carrying their own. Others will quietly resist you, questioning why you of all people were chosen. And some will outright oppose you because the authority on your life reminds them that their own time of influence is fading. But here is the truth you must never forget. Their acceptance is not required. Their approval is not necessary. The authority you carry was not handed to you by men, so it cannot be taken away by men. What heaven has stamped, no human hand can erase. This is why you survive storms that should have destroyed you. Why you rise after failures that others expected to bury you. Why doors open for you even when you do not qualify by human standards. The authority on your life is not earthly, it is eternal. Every time people gossip about you, it only proves that your life carries influence. People do not waste energy on what does not matter. Every time they resist you, it only confirms that your steps carry power. Resistance is evidence of impact. Every time they whisper, "Why you?" it is a reminder that heaven has singled you out for something greater. Opposition is not a sign of weakness. It is proof that you are walking in undeniable authority. Look at the patterns of history. Jesus himself faced opposition. He healed the sick, fed the hungry, loved the broken, and still they mocked him, lied about him, and plotted to kill him. Moses faced Pharaoh's hardened heart over and over again, not because Moses was wrong, but because his authority was undeniable. Elijah was hunted by Jezebel because his boldness exposed her deception. David was pursued by Saul, not because David sought the throne, but because his anointing proved that Saul's reign was finished. If the greatest men and women of God faced opposition, then you too will face it. But just like them, your opposition is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to validate you. Understand this: if you walk in your calling and face no resistance, it may be a sign you are not yet walking in your full authority. The anointing attracts warfare. The crown attracts critics. The mantle of leadership awakens both followers and enemies. This is why you cannot live for applause. The same crowd that cheers for you today may turn on you tomorrow. But your authority does not rest in their hands. It rests in the eternal word spoken over your life. Do not waste your energy trying to win everyone over. You are not called to convince the world. You are called to walk in obedience. Authority is not proven through arguments. It is proven through results, through fruit, through consistency. Let your victory speak louder than the accusations of your critics. Let your growth silence their gossip. Let your endurance prove what your words cannot. Some will say you are too much, too confident, too bold, too different. But what they call too much is simply the evidence that you were never meant to blend in with the crowd. Others will attempt to attach themselves to you when they see your rise, even if they doubted you in the beginning. Do not feel guilty for creating boundaries. Not everyone is meant to walk with you to the next level. Authority requires discernment, and discernment teaches you this: just because someone claps for you does not mean they are for you. Chosen one, opposition is not a curse. It is a sharpening tool. It forces you to grow. It teaches you to trust God above the noise of people. It strengthens your boldness and deepens your wisdom. When you endure opposition with grace, you reveal that your authority is not fragile but tested and proven. Chapter 7. Living Beyond Approval. Chosen one, let this truth sink deep into your spirit. Your crown was never given for display. It was given for destiny. It was not placed on your head so you could pose for pictures or gather compliments. It was placed there as a sign of your divine assignment, a reminder that you were set apart to carry something greater than yourself. You are not here to move for approval. You are here to move with purpose. You don't live to be liked. You live to be light. You don't strive to impress people. You are called to impact generations. You are not seeking applause. You are seeking heaven's will. The applause of man fades quickly, but the approval of heaven echoes into eternity. When you finally choose to live beyond approval, something inside you shifts. You stop allowing other people's opinions to define your worth. You stop bowing to the weight of their criticism. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into rooms, conversations, or relationships that were never worthy of your presence. Approval-driven living keeps you in chains, but purpose-driven living sets you free. And freedom is the only environment where true authority can grow. Think about it. How many times in your past did you try to win the approval of others? You may have dressed a certain way, spoken a certain way, or even hid your true self just to be accepted. You may have stayed silent when you should have spoken, or tolerated disrespect just to belong. But every time you chased approval, you lost a piece of yourself. That is why heaven has been training you, often through rejection, to rise above that cycle. The rejection that once broke your heart is the very tool that built your boldness. Chosen one, you must understand that approval is a prison. The moment you let go of it, you step into real power. When you no longer need the validation of people, you become unstoppable. Because now you move only with the wind of heaven at your back. You no longer wait for others to give you permission. You already carry divine authorization. You no longer wait for them to clap. You walk knowing that heaven has already sealed your destiny with its applause. Living beyond approval doesn't mean you become careless or arrogant. It doesn't mean you stop loving people. It simply means you no longer let their changing opinions dictate your path. One day they will celebrate you, and the next day they may criticize you. But you remain the same, focused, faithful, and fearless, because your mission doesn't change with their moods. Look at the great ones before you. Jesus did not seek the approval of the Pharisees or the crowd. His mission was clear, and their opinions did not move him. Some praised him, some mocked him, some plotted against him. But none of it changed his assignment. David wasn't chosen because people approved of him. In fact, when Samuel came to anoint the next king, David wasn't even invited to the room. He was overlooked, underestimated, and disregarded. Yet heaven's approval found him in the field, and the oil flowed. So it is with you. The crown on your life may not be visible to the crowd, but heaven sees it. And that is all that matters. When heaven says yes, no human opinion can say otherwise. Their doubt cannot undo your destiny. Their gossip cannot erase your grace. Their resistance cannot cancel your authority. Chosen one. Living beyond approval means rising unapologetically. It means shining your light without dimming it for anyone's comfort. It means leading without fear, serving without hesitation, and walking with the awareness that you are already backed by heaven's authority. When you grasp this, you no longer ask, "Will they like me?" Instead, you declare, "I was sent here